Oh, ladies, look at me. Now look at your man. Now look at me. Now look at your man. Now look at that red bird. What is that orange circle? And now look at me. And oh, look, there's another bird down there. That's what it's like to have ADHD.
Welcome back. CP24 live at noon. Well, Peter Coleridge is the National CEO of the Canadian Mental Health Association is with us. And also that was Rick Green, the award-winning producer and actor. He's also the co-founder of Totally ADD. Welcome. And thank you very much for coming in. We're going to talk about that little Old Spice commercial you did there in a moment. Sure. But let's just talk first then, Peter, about the week. This is Friday. The week is over almost. Mm-hmm. But is this a 60th recognition of Mental Health Week?
60 years of Mental Health Week and educating the public about mental health, how to improve and maintain their mental health, the connection between mental health and overall health and well-being. There is no health without mental health.
Absolutely. One of the things that always strikes me is that, when you talk about physical health, it's always very, very specific. Mm-hmm. It's a broken leg or a broken arm or cancer or tumors, whatever it is. Mental health is all, just sort of blocked in there. It's just mental health. Mm-hmm. And people don't know whether it's an incredibly debilitating type of mental health or whether it's less debilitating. Will there ever be some distinctions in that, do you think, in the common parlance?
Well, our hope is mental health for all, which is a theme this year, and it's about the right of every Canadian to enjoy positive mental health. And within that, we need to deal with the misperceptions that the public has. A sign of weakness, more violent, all these kinds of views that we take around mental health broadly, but also the specific illnesses, as you've mentioned. And we do have to start focusing on those things. Okay, well, let's just turn now to Rick, because you have a very, very unique story. We're going to come back to you, Peter. You're not off the hook yet. But Rick, let's tell us your story briefly.
Well, I've been working in television for 30 years, and about 10 years ago, my son got diagnosed with ADHD, and I said, I'm a responsible parent now and then. Give me this test, and I went over the test, and I went, well, I could score higher than he did. I could be the competitive dad, and I realized, the penny dropped, and it explained why I had succeeded and where I had struggled or failed,
we all know where you succeeded. Where had you struggled and failed?
I'm on my second and last marriage. So my marriage ended. My finances were not great. My paperwork was a disaster. And although I had, written, produced, and acted in almost 500 episodes of radio and television, I had no real sense of accomplishment. It was always on to the next thing, because I never quite knew why some things worked, some things died.
But was that a personality matter, or was that mental health? And what were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with ADHD, and basically it's just a shortage of chemicals up here, the fuel that helps us think. And there's two that they've identified, dopamine and noradrenaline, and we're short of them. You put someone with ADHD in one of those scanning machines, and it's actually not firing the same way as other people. It's not firing enough. When you deal with it, when you get a holistic approach to treatment and take it on, it starts firing the right way. And this is the part that the prefrontal cortex here is your master controller. So when it's not making good decisions, when it's easily overwhelmed, when you've got tons started and nothing finished, when your paperwork is a mess, when you're great at talking but not too good at listening, there's a whole slew of signs. And half of us in television have it, I'm convinced.
Okay, I'm not going to take that test right now. But I mean, is it dealt with through therapy, or is it dealt with through drugs, pharmaceuticals?
Cognitive behavioral therapy, which is really taking what you think and turning it around. Because if you think something, if I think you've done something awful, then I have this negative feeling towards you. If I think you're an amazing person, so it's taking your thoughts. Maybe that nagging your mom did was actually her way of saying, I love you.
Yeah.
Bam, that shifts everything, how you are with your mom. So it's really dealing with that. But the actual ADHD, it's chemicals. And it's, when I started on taking Synthroid for my thyroid, nobody said to me, well, you don't need it, you got a strong thyroid. When it's a mental health issue, we're frightened. We're absolutely frightened.
We aren't frightened, but we're out of time for a second. We're going to come back with more about Mental Health Week and how you can help someone who you suspect may be in need of help. Stay with us.